do you agree with what Peter's been saying, that this court does look a touch slow?
You know, it's interesting. When I was in Helsingborg for the previous tie against Brazil, I had a chat with the Swedes then, and they, you know, there was a feeling there that court was a little slow, although they wanted to give themselves a chance of getting back the Kierton serve. They didn't want to give him too many free games on his serve, and you know, I have to say that when you've got Jonas in your team, it's going to be difficult for him to really beat somebody on this type of court against the quality of opposition that he had. It may suit Enqvist a little better, but it's still going to suit Hewitt as well.
Tactically, Barry Cowan, how has Enqvist got to approach this one?
Well, he's got to be aggressive, but he's got to be patient. Obviously, you've got to work the point on this type of surface. So not try to go to the winner for a winner too early in the point. But I think this surface definitely helped Philippoussis. I actually think it will help Enqvist against Hewitt. And I think if the faster the surface would have definitely favoured the Aussie.
Okay, this a must-win match for Sweden. Mark Philippoussis has given Australia 1 rubber to love lead. Day 1 of this Davis Cup quarter-final with a straight sets victory over Jonas Bjorkman. Thomas Enqvist can level proceedings here and leave it tied at 1 apiece after day 1 if he can get past the world #1. It's a tall order, but we'll find out in the company of Barry Cowan and Mark Petchey.
Thanks very much, Chris. Yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting match. Enqvist has the pedigree, he has the experience, he's got the quality. He's an Australian Open finalist back in '99. He's got 3 Masters Series shields, and they're not easy to come by. So certainly the quality's there for Enqvist, but is the belief on the back of what has been a poor start to the year?
That's a good question, but you have to say possibly his belief is there. He's beaten Agassi, he's beaten Kierton, 2 form players this year. But for Enqvist, it's just can he string it together? Of course, those matches were over best of 3 sets. This is best of 5. Stefan Edberg.
I'll tell you what, Barry, it's a good job that you and I are playing if we're going to get sort of our physical attributes sort of plastered out to the whole world, the way that Chris managed to do about old Thomas Enqvist there. So you're behind the camera rather than in front of it. But certainly a lot of the ex-Swedes here, Anders Järryd, Stefan Edberg, good support for the Swedes, and he's going to need loud vocal support from early on in this match to try and get under Hewitt's skin a little bit. But Hewitt, as we know in the past, has actually thrived on that occasion.
Of course, he's notably for that performance in Brazil, beaten Kierton on his home patch. There aren't too many people that do that in world tennis.
There's not too many people that beat Lane Hewitt at any time, let alone in Davis Cup. That's the task ahead of Thomas Enqvist. Hewitt, 22 years old, against the older man in Enqvist at 29. One reason why I personally think this is a bad matchup for Enqvist is because Hewitt, he just loves to run down every ball, and the Swede doesn't play with a big margin for error.
That's a good point, Petch, but I also think Enqvist is a player that likes to dominate. Sometimes Hewitt does that.
rather sick in Miami, food poisoning. He's in the first round there to Francisco Clave. On the other hand, perhaps his best week of the year. First time he's managed to put back-to-back wins together. It's Michael Lodger in the opening round, and then Gustavo Kiertonen had a very good match with Mark Philippoussis in the round of 32. Confident start by the Swedish number 2. And he's certainly been relaxed in the last couple of days since we've been chatting to him. Again, unlike his compatriot, get off to a solid start with no opportunities for Hewitt early on. And I do think the point you make about Hewitt likes a quicker call, the ball coming onto his racket, when he has to generate the pace, there can be some more errors from the Australian's racket. World number 1, who's currently 4 in the race, compared to Enqvist, entry of 86 and race position of 80. Large gulf in the rankings, but not in the experience. That's all Enqvist has got to do. Play 30 to 40 shot rallies and then not miss the last one. It's not going to be a tough afternoon.
That's a crooning rally. I just felt that Hewitt got his intentions early. And that's why Hewitt is so hard to play. The players know it, the other end of the net.
Enqvist, who has a 13-8 win-loss record in the Davis Cup. Hewitt's a very impressive 19 wins and just the 5 losses. And it is the first thing down on his schedule, says his coach Jason Stoltenberg at the beginning of the year. Means that much to him. So both men off to good starts. Never easy sitting around with a few nerves of watching your fellow countrymen go at it in the previous round. It's the only time as a player you really come on and have some sort of different angle early on in the match, because usually it's just you going out there cold, starting from level. But on a match like this, you've got the one love to contend with as well.
patient rally from Enqvist. Really buying this time. And this time it's Hewitt with the unforced error. He could be in for a long one.
That's perhaps where Hewitt will struggle with the heavier conditions when the ball's up over his shoulder. Certainly more errors from Hewitt's racket than you would expect early on. The Swede looks in confident mood early on in this second rubber. Enqvist. Hewitt's girlfriend next to his sister and mum. Certainly a few warning shots being fired by Thomas Enqvist early on. And not an easy situation for Hewitt to be in. His countryman's done a good job, but the pressure on him is now to take Australia to 2-0 lead before the close of play today.
Thank you. Ready to play. Line, please.
That didn't miss by much. It's not often you get Hewitt leaving such a big gap into the forehand corner. Originally from Stockholm, now in all the Swedes in Monte Carlo.
With a quizzical look from Enqvist. He felt the serve was long.
Does that so well. Plenty of variety on his second serve.
49.
He has the self-belief to hit the lower percentage serve out wide on the big points as well.
Sometimes he has to rely too much on his second serve, Hewitt. Made a lot of effort and strides to try and improve that first serve percentage. Sometimes it can be down in low 40s.
What Enqvist has to do. He has to put some doubts into Hewitt's mind.
40-30.
good second serve from Hewitt to get himself out of some impending danger. Interesting enough, that he leads the tour this year in terms of second serve points won. And it's quite an incredible stat, and he's third behind Roddick and Agassi in terms of service games won as well. We talk a lot about his counter-punching skills, but he's hanging on to his serve as well.
Early on, Hewitt's had a little bit of problem with Enqvist's second serve, really kicking up high. Maybe a tactic where he's going to stand a little further back.
It's going to be interesting to see how Enqvist approaches this match as it develops. It's easy to start early on, being patient, biding your time, but as it gets longer and longer, his natural instinct is to go after the ball.
Especially when things don't go your way. It's easy to stick with your game plan when you're on top. The one thing you don't want to do is start chasing.
And already the Australian just chiseling away the Swede's confidence. There's going to be some complaints, I think, from the Aussie bench about the call.
Well, the serve certainly did look dubious, but the point was an exceptional point from Enqvist. And you really feel he has to improve that first serve percentage.
Well, he got himself into that rally on a level footing with a beautiful backhand deep cross-court, Hewitt.
Well, it's incredible counter-attacking from Leighton Hewitt, taking that forehand early.
It's the competitive Hewitt who earns the first break point in this match. Nice time to deliver your first ace. It's a heavy serve as well when it comes down from the Swede. And that one just getting above the 200 mark.
But the key, also the placement.
That's an excellent hold by Enqvist. He escapes having faced the break point, and he's doing a good job early on. Swede ahead, 3-2. Hewitt as ever focused on his strings and on the job at hand. Nothing, it seems, perturbs the Australian.
Not even the cheerleaders.
Although they are perturbing Barry somewhat. Always somehow manages to find a way to make you play one extra shot.
They definitely did unsettle Enqvist. You just feel once you got that control of the point, the next one needed a short cross backhand. He elects to go down the line.
But the amazing thing about Hewitt again, and that was the recovery, he was already back in the middle of the court.
That's good. I mean, a lot of people talk about Hewitt's speed, and rightly so. He's one of the quickest players on the court. But his phenomenal strength for a small guy.
Hewitt already won this Davis Cup once in his young career.
But the one thing Hewitt will be keen and eager this year is to try and actually win his matches in the final. He was the one who lost both matches in that tie.
Well, the key to this match has been perfectly illustrated in this game. A couple of times Enqvist had taken the ball on. Hewitt's either managed to get back or it's been an error. If Enqvist can keep coming up with shots like this, it could be the Swedes' day. Not too much power in that final forehand from Hewitt, but plenty of accuracy as ever from the world #1. And the Australian #1. Levels things up there. Fitzgerald is a very much laid-back approach to being captain of both Philippoussis and Hewitt. I think such is his nature that he doesn't really possess a big ego, John Fisher. Incredibly successful guy in his times, 6 career titles, 30 doubles, numerous Grand Slams. And yet I think at times people like Philippoussis clashed with John Newcombe because of the personalities. Starting to see signs of Enqvist unravelling.
It always fascinates me, different demeanour and attitudes of Davis Cup captain. You've got Guy Forget, who's incredibly animated, never keeps still.
that low margin for error from Enqvist hurting him. And Hewitt, who had a break point in the previous Enqvist service game, gets himself another 3. And fired up instantly, Hewitt, as he grabs the opening break of this second rubber. The world #1 is in impressive form. Low percentages on the first serve by both men, but the person who's hurt first is Enqvist, and perhaps his first serve is going to be more key than Hewitt's in this match. And again, the Aussies find themselves on top early on. It's won their last 8 sets that they've played. Just a winner back in '99 in Adelaide in the final. 6-2 in the third then. He's been selective on his approaches, Hewitt, but they've been pretty devastating when he's made the move. Nothing seemingly running for Enqvist at the moment. Fabulous backhand by Enqvist.
That was a terrific point from Enqvist. Couldn't have hit any better, but Hewitt nearly made it. As a player, you sense that.
Just got a sense about a game and a half ago that Enqvist is starting to press a little too quickly in the rally. Certainly the unforced errors have been coming fast and freely from the Swedes' racket. That's just phenomenal speed.
Phenomenal speed, but how in one shot he was in trouble, got his defensive shot deep, but then his next shot, he was on it like a flash. And that's what he does so well.
With so much to cheer, I have to say, from the Swedish supporters' point of view, it has gone awfully quiet early on in this match.
They were like that in the first match. You really got to try and lift their man here.
Hewitt missed it, but it certainly does still send out a signal to Enqvist that he can't just sit back the whole time. Well, he's only played one poor service game in this set, Enqvist, but it's perhaps the most telling one. When he goes to his chair, he'll have to try and find a way to break Leighton Hewitt. Very interesting to hear what Mats Wilander was saying to Thomas Enqvist at change, because Wilander, very similar type of player to Leighton Hewitt. He would know what troubled him in certain situations. And I'm sure trying to convey that across to Enqvist. World number one to serve for the opening set. He's working his man all over the court.
Well, he's using those angles, Leighton Hewitt, down the line, and then that short forehand. This one here. And if you can make Enqvist run,
Irresistible tennis Hewitt's played in these opening 10 games. And the Aussie number one, he was under a barrage of big shots early on in this set from Enqvist. He's turned it around convincingly and has 3 set points. Well, Leighton Hewitt became world number one on November the 19th, 99. And you wonder how easy he hasn't relinquished it since, and you wonder just how easy it's going to be for Enqvist to try and get the lead back here from Leighton Hewitt. It's been a hard day's work for Mats Wilander so far. He hasn't had too much to show for it either. No sets on the board yet for his Swedish team, and nothing but joy for the Australians. Leighton Hewitt's father there in the right with the jacket on. Looks like he's got his game face on, as is his son. So a convincing end to the opening set, and I think it also an indication that Hewitt's going to start coming after the ball a little bit more. He tends to get into his match, a little bit of rhythm. Even more problems for the Swede.
What he does Leighton Hewitt is he's a counter-attacker, but he keeps great length. What his opponents tend to do, because of that, trying to push too early, go for too much.
Even Hewitt acknowledged how good that was from Enqvist.
This is phenomenal from Enqvist. Running around his backhand. And his forehand down the line. It's beautiful.
Thought it was out in our commentary position. It did look wide, but no real complaint from Hewitt this time. But even when you know what's going to happen when Hewitt steps onto court and how he's going to play, he's not going to come out here with any surprises. He is such a tough man to beat, as Enqvist is finding out. He is so good. It is quite incredible. Enqvist couldn't have played a better point. And Hewitt, when it matters most, produces his best.
Well, Leighton Hewitt knows how important that breakthrough is early in the second set. But you really got to feel for Enqvist. Can't play a better point, and he loses it. So what does he think then? Well, what game plan have I got? Have I got plan B or plan C? And that's the one thing you feel with Enqvist. He relies solely on the big serve and getting the shots in early. The problem today has been that first serve percentage, down at 34%.
A lot's been said about McEnroe over the years, but the one thing I think that sums him up nicely is when they say at his heart is that he's a true amateur sportsman. It's about the love of the game, the joy of being out there, the competing. It's not about the money. The titles are nice, but they're a byproduct of producing your best in the most competitive arena. And Hewitt, over the last couple of years, has been the best at that, as he's proven again today. Oh, it's phenomenal.
This is unbelievable from Leighton Hewitt. Enqvist as well. It's a good volley. Maybe it's time to go home.
Well, I think the one good thing for Enqvist at this particular juncture, it might not be the longest afternoon he's ever spent on a tennis court. I mean, that is perhaps the best forehand he's hit all year, and he's hit some pretty special ones, Hewitt. Got it. Finally, he's played 3 of the best points of his life, and he's managed to get 1. And this is how good it has to be as well. And good it was inside the line from Enqvist.
What Leighton Hewitt does is he responds to what his opponent does. He sensed that Enqvist has lifted his game at the beginning of this second set.
And there's just no letting up from Hewitt. Consistently picking up his first serve percentage. Winners of his own now as well, Hewitt. It's an irresistible combination, no unforced errors, and winners, and even in that last game, John Fitzgerald almost smiling to the Wayne Arthurs and the like behind, saying there's only one way this is going.
It's the perfect combination, isn't it? Leighton Hewitt. You don't lose too many matches when you don't hit any unforced errors, but you hit winners.
I'm not sure that even Mats Wilander has encountered problems like this in his career. He was perhaps the one handing them out. First double. Things, unfortunately for the Swede, going from bad to worse. As they were with me. 2 doubles calls apparently. Another unforced error to boot for the Swede.
It was interesting to see Hewitt's body language there. Really animated. He knows the importance. He can get that double breakthrough.
No real confidence about Enqvist's move into the net there, and Hewitt picked him off.
We heard the come on, familiar come on from Leighton Hewitt.
I thought maybe he was copying your dancing techniques at the nightclub from the other night there, Barry.
He was in rhythm.
Finally, a bit of rhythm on Enqvist's serve. That most definitely is his 3rd double, and Hewitt's 4th game in a row. It's simply too good at the moment. Tilstrom there. Segura, who was part of that epic win in the previous round, and the Swedes had to win the remaining couple of singles on the Sunday, which they managed to do. Magnificent effort from Bjorkman that day, and over the whole weekend having to play 3 matches, everyone going to 5 sets, and they're going to have to mount some sort of special comeback here, Sweden, and it's going to need to start pretty soon from Enqvist now.
And a collector's item, an unforced error. He is human.
Yeah, maybe good use of the little moon ball there from Enqvist to change things up. No pace. Maybe that a good change of tactics, use of the top of the net.
Maybe that's the influence Wilander's had on the side of the court.
Big apology there for Enqvist. I'm sure he doesn't really think that at this stage of the match. Well, he's definitely using it as a tactic. It's not a bad play when you think about Hewitt. He won't be able to generate enough pace from the back there off that slower ball. At least Enqvist trying something.
But you just feel it's a sign of desperation more than anything. Not something he's totally comfortable with.
Excellent point by Enqvist. Top class.
Well, he hasn't won many of those long exchanges today, Enqvist. Maybe this point can give him hope. He just felt in that run he got the right balance.
And the Australians seemingly found the right shot at the right time, all the time.
Advantage Sweden.
Hewitt, I'm going to face a second break point. And no surprise for somebody that before this game was serving under 40%, he suddenly finds a couple of first serves when it really matters.
That's why sometimes first serve percentage can be misleading. It's all about when you get your first serve in.
Hewitt is just never complacent about anything, never a let up in terms of his concentration. It's been the quality of Enqvist's play in this game that's pushed the Australian. Good encouragement from the crowd, and Enqvist will need that.
Hewitt.
But there's your problem. It's sat up invitingly, but I know Hewitt is balanced enough to chase it down, and Enqvist is having to put together 4 or 5 points in a row to try and claim a game like he did on the previous point. And the Swedish team are still looking for that elusive break of serve of the Australians. 4.5 sets gone, and neither Philippoussis or Hewitt have yet to drop serve. And that game perhaps more debilitating for Enqvist than if he'd have lost it quickly and tried to get to the third set. Some chances have slipped by, and another dent in the already fragile confidence.
It's just the intensity of Hewitt. You know he's 3-love up, 2 breaks up. He wants to get the job done as quick as he can in this set.
Also the master, like all the top players, of knowing when to take their foot off it in a particular game. As he does so there, the game goes by. It's a hold for Enqvist, but it's a long way back in this set for the Swede. He's trailing 1-4.
Australia leads 4 games to 1.
Crowd, and at times the drum beat goes on, but I'm not sure if the Swedes at the moment are marching in a rhythm that's going to take them to victory or honourable defeat. Alan Mills there, Andreas Egli, Joachim Johansson, part of the Swedish team. Surgically done by the Australian. And again, just keeping Enqvist running all the time, off balance, second guessing. The base, and again, finding the corners so well. Because he was injured for the previous tie. Now can't find a return either, Enqvist, to even get himself into the rallies. Hewitt's first serve percentage is being raised. Again, he stretches his lead in the second set to 4 games.
Well, what Swede's really got to think now is to just fast forward his thoughts for the third set. Try and make sure he gets off that third set well. That's something that they've struggled to do all day. Really hang in to a set, any pressure on their opponents.
Well, we're sitting pretty much on that line, and I've got to go with the linesman there. Looked like he missed. Definitely out. The shell of the man that started the match, Enqvist, just at this moment. Precision again from Hewitt.
Well, again, Enqvist uses that moonball tactic. He just doesn't get the ball deep enough. Hewitt pounces.
And there it is again, that ability, that incredible ability to turn defence into attack.
Astounding play from Leighton Hewitt. In some ways, you feel for Enqvist.
The Swede facing 2 set points.
Well, again, Enqvist comes up with his best tennis. Leighton Hewitt nearly makes this shot. You half expect him to anyway.
It's interesting to see how Hewitt plays different players out here. Usually he'll hit a topspin lob in that sort of situation, but because he knows Enqvist doesn't volley that great, he'll always try and force him to hit the volley before the smash. Not the easiest shot Enqvist had to play there. He hung in there, did Thomas Enqvist. Not much has been going his way, and certainly the scoreline will show that as well. Hewitt will come out and serve for a 2-sets-to-love lead. Stats are telling you pretty much the story there. Too many unforced errors. That was going to always be the key to Enqvist's chance in this match. If he can keep that stat low, he's always going to fire the winners, but he hasn't been able to do it. And even the pom-pom girls haven't been able to rouse the crowd enough to get them into it. Wherever Enqvist can get his inspiration from, he needs to get some now. Hewitt serving for the second set. And there's definitely confusion in Enqvist's game about how he's going about trying to beat Hewitt.
That's the one thing you feel with Thomas Enqvist. He's got plan A. Just hopes that that works.
Against Hewitt at times, though, you feel as though plan Z may not be enough and you need to find some other way of winning. Certainly inevitable seems to be here now in this second set. Hewitt spent most of his junior career working out how to beat guys that were bigger than him, and he's doing it again now for his country. A quite perfect second set there by Hewitt, who clinches it 6 games to again, another big conversation for Mats Wilander. I wonder if he's remembering the words of Bill Tilden a while back, one of the great champions of the past. He says the one who wins does so by forcing the recognition of impending defeat upon his opponent. You have to say, you feel as though perhaps that impending feeling is coming across Enqvist right now. And that is exactly what Hewitt does to you, because he never has a respite in the match.
Well, it looks a shell-shock bench.
Well, he's played some good points at times as Enqvist, but he just hasn't played enough of them.
Well, that's right, exceptional slice backhand from Hewitt, matched by Enqvist. And an easy overhead.
Again, it's not really the power that beats Enqvist, it's the accuracy in the angle.
And this is because early ball that Hewitt takes
Well, if he is allowed the time to set up, the luxury to be able to pick his spot, he's been quite devastating. I said earlier, it's not easy to smash with this particular roof. The light's coming down, you lose it a little bit. Even the easiest one needs due care and attention. Well, it hurts more when you're playing for your country, and you can see that in the reaction from Enqvist.
He's normally such a passive person.
Might be in Sweden, but it's Enqvist who's looking lost right now.
So is the captain.
A must-win game for Enqvist was won by the Swede. Torturous, as almost all of his games have been, but he is at least ahead.
There's a couple of unforced errors from Leighton Hewitt, handed the game to Enqvist. And I have to say, they've been very rare today. World number one, be the imperious best.
Swedish number one on the bench. And we all know exactly what Enqvist is going through right now. Carlos Ramos in the chair. Hasn't really had to control the crowd. They've never really got out of control. There's a distinct lack of drumming coming from our left. Partly due to the fact they don't have a drum anymore.
Is that because of our complaints?
Well, if Enqvist is going to mount some sort of recovery, quite a miraculous one at that it would be, it has to start now. There from the chair. Great use of the ball as well, the change of direction.
It was just so quick to see Enqvist in trouble. Next to drive volley.
Hewitt, like so many great chess players, always able to think one move ahead from once he's hit the shot where he should be for the next one. The accolades keep coming from Leighton Hewitt this year as well. Young Australian of the Year, Australian Male of the Year. Respected, admired, perhaps not yet loved. Anything you can do on the forehand, he can do on the backhand as well.
Well, maybe the Swedish director didn't particularly like that shot.
Liked it, but everybody else sitting behind the Australian bench was on their feet. So disheartening for Enqvist to see his best shots coming back.
He's having to win the point 4 times. His recovery, the man in your picture, is sensational.
And it is interesting what Hewitt, a lot of the time people talk about returning the ball, got to be ready, eager, feet up, bouncing around. Now you look at Hewitt, he hardly moves at all. He's totally static, feet to the ground, so he's got the ability to push off either way. Got the length right, Hewitt, not the direction.
It's very rare you see Leighton Hewitt miss a smash. Claims it to be one of his best shots.
Surprisingly, there's been a little bit of a lull in this third set, and Enqvist perhaps going to take full advantage. An impressive serve from Enqvist to clinch that game. And every game that he can stay ahead can help him build some confidence. Anything he should try and do, Barry, think at this stage, Enqvist, or just hope that Hewitt's level disappears.
Well, a very big hope that Hewitt's level disappears. The one thing he could possibly do is just hang in into the third set, hope if he gets to 4 or 5 all, maybe get a lucky break, a little bit of inspirational tennis. Certainly a big comeback for Thomas Enqvist and the Swedish team. Not the sort of charitable favours you expect from Leighton Hewitt.
The Aussie fans over the years have occasionally had a few good things to celebrate when it comes to sport, and they're making the most of it here in Sweden. Again, stats perhaps don't lie. Enqvist needed to really have one of the days where he served at 60% and right out of a mountain as well. Hasn't happened for him.
Well, the court hasn't helped him. The conditions, the heavy conditions, never favours big service.
Hewitt, who's only lost 2 of his last 14 Davis Cup matches. Again, an indication of how strong he is.
Well, he thrives on the expectation. Leighton Hewitt loves it, in fact. Bigger occasion, better the world #1 is.
Again there, Hewitt just delivering a nothing ball to Enqvist, who tried to take it on, didn't really respect it. Every category, Hewitt is outnumbering Enqvist. And again, you see from Hewitt, even after that point there, he just recognised that it was a great shot from Enqvist. He does just relish the battle. Well, not even Hewitt is going to be able to run that down.
Well, it's a sensational point from both players. Exceptional lob. Hewitt showing good athleticism. I have to say, I'm surprised he didn't reach that.
Oh, it's an excellent 3 points on the Hewitt serve by Enqvist. Enqvist not happy with the call at all. Such the energy that's gone out of the crowd, they don't even seem to be able to sort of get on the umpire's case here, whether it was a good or a bad call, or make themselves get involved. Mats Wilander doing the best he can. Hewitt's first double fault. That's the only category where Enqvist has got better numbers than Hewitt. It's the one that you don't want it in. He's got that amazing ability to be able to just, much the same way that Connors and McEnroe had, of being able to put disappointment behind them and concentrate on the next point.
Again, sign of a big point. Again, a first serve.
Fabulous tennis by both men, but especially Hewitt.
Well, the court coverage from Leighton Hewitt in this point is exceptional, and it's matched by the 2 volleys that wins the point. What Enqvist, you really got a feel for him. Again in that rally, in control. Hewitt just making him play.
Well, super Leighton Hewitt is what the Aussies are shouting, and that's exactly what he's been today. Another exquisite point won from the Hewitt racket, and a little bit more disappointment for Enqvist to swallow. Beginning to mutter to himself, and he knows this is the sort of time that he needs to knuckle down.
Well, you see annoyance because he held on to a difficult game. What he wants is he wants to carry that momentum through.
To be fair, not too much he could have done about this game. And another 8. And a glimpse of why Thomas Enqvist reached number 4 in the world. He's going to have to rediscover that form pretty... Well, he's certainly gone through the full Wilander repertoire today in terms of getting the best out of his players. As energetic as ever, Mats Wilander on the side of the court. And Enqvist, who came close in the previous Hewitt service game, perhaps just maybe dwelling on a little bit of confidence. And the crowd certainly hope so.
Well, the crowd were definitely more vocal, the change of ends. And that will lift them even further.
Maybe Wilander tells Enqvist it's time just to throw the gloves off and go for it, risk everything, and it may just pay off. And a huge reception greeted that return of serve.
Well, a short second serve from Hewitt. Enqvist pounces. Maybe that's what he's got to do. Really capitalise on that second serve.
Well, again, incredibly intelligent play by Hewitt. Took all the pace off that first serve. Didn't allow Enqvist to look at a second. And then that pinpoint. And Enqvist's reaction said it a lot better than I could. Got him again. And the Swedish team all on their feet for this one. Enqvist perhaps going to make something happen here. Indeed he does. Incredible turnaround in this match. Enqvist down and out. And all of a sudden, the Swedish number 2 has broken through and leads 4-2 in the third.
Well, pure brilliance from Enqvist. Got a look at some second serves and he capitalised on it. For the first time in the whole match, Sweden break the Australian serve.
What a way to do it as well. He certainly went after Hewitt's second serve when he had a chance.
I think sometimes that's the easiest thing to do against someone who's so fast as Hewitt. Get him off balance straight after the serve.
Well, Max Wilander there just talking to the umpire, I think, about Hewitt's reaction to the double fault. Thinking perhaps that it was a little unsporting. Certain clarity about Enqvist's play now as well.
Oh, it's good to see. We got game on. This is usually where it brings the best out of Leighton Hewitt.
There's no doubt this is what makes Hewitt so good. Instead of wallowing in self-pity about losing his serve, he gets even more competitive.
Good thing about Hewitt here is he's realised Enqvist has lifted his game, so Hewitt's got to be a little more aggressive, take the ball on a little bit more.
He's started to make a few more first serves now as well, Enqvist.
30 all.
That, for me, is the one difference between Hewitt and Agassi. Enqvist has had a decent time against Agassi in the past because he gets a lot of free points on his serve because Agassi doesn't dive one way or the other and just try and lay his racket on it. And there Hewitt showing, if he can just get the ball back into play, I've got a shot. Not just a shot, a break point. Well, for a moment there, you felt as though Sweden were right back in this contest. Hewitt was down the break, but as ever, he finds a way to get himself back on serve in this third set.
The interesting thing on that last point was Enqvist had a great serve, he had a good backhand, but he should have followed it into the net, but he elected to stand back. Hewitt got back into the point, but I think a lot of that is due to the pressure that Hewitt puts on you, makes you hit that extra volley.
And when it really mattered, he found a way, which is what he's done throughout the course of his pretty young career so far, Hugh. We haven't seen the best of it yet, but certainly now and there again, you can see the disappointment etched on Enqvist's face. But what
well, certainly Enqvist, the Swedish team, would have felt that they were up 4-2. They had a great chance to win this third set and put some pressure on Hewitt. Hewitt just responds.
Time.
Now it's going to be an uphill task for Enqvist.
Enqvist trudges from his chair, looking more despondent than perhaps we've seen him before. Hewitt, as ever, expression doesn't change, apart from when he starts grimacing and give it a big come on. Difficult to pick which way Hewitt is going to send his first serve as well. He does again have a great ability to be able to hit the different serves off the same ball toss. And that split-second indecision again by Enqvist. Instead of just being comfortable and knowledge of what he needed to do, he looked up almost and then lost control of the shot. Well, it was too good and a little too negative from Hewitt in this rally.
Well, he didn't pull up on this one, Enqvist. Exquisite forehand. I feel a lot of that is due to because he almost knows Hewitt's going to be there. His best shots. But he's had great success in the last two service games. Enqvist capitalising on Hewitt's second serve.
A strategically placed flower pot, breaking the Hewitt run. And once again, the Swedes with something to cheer about. Certainly a flatter second serve from Hewitt. Well, apart from being annoying for the Aussie crowd to come on, they all get up in unison when Hewitt lets it go. And that was a big second serve from the Australian. And that unknown quantity of pressure does throw up a few surprising results at times, and it's what Enqvist has managed to do in the last 15 minutes.
This is where Hewitt has often relied on a first serve. I think he needs one.
Well, he's found one. Perhaps there, Enqvist just a little guilty of over-pressing, trying to take the ball early. Kim Kleist is Leighton Hewitt's girlfriend. It's the first one out of her chair after every point. Hewitt's won. And again, a clutch first serve from the world number one. Three in a row for Hewitt. He's escaped from a very tricky situation, down 2-4.
Down 2 break points in that last game, but both his serves were aimed at the Enqvist forehand. And that's something Hewitt tried to do today on the big points. It's the Swedes' weaker wing on the return.
So again, a quick momentum shift here. Pressure on Hewitt's shoulders, right back on Enqvist. One slip up from here on in, this match is pretty much over. Tension evident on their faces. Really closed the net down well there, Enqvist. Good sense of purpose.
See how far Leighton Hewitt is behind the baseline. Just Enqvist that extra little bit of time to get into the net. A good volley. Just feel these last couple of points, Leighton Hewitt maybe a little bit tentative, and then Enqvist really dominate the points.
First service.
He has served a lot better in this third set, Enqvist. And he has done a good job. Well, they say champions are born out of defeat. Certainly Hewitt has learned that in abundance throughout the course of his career, coming back from seemingly impossible situations. And right now, it's looking the other way against an opponent who is fighting for his country as hard as he can, doing everything that he can to just unsell Hewitt and get himself into this match.
Thank you. Quiet, please. Thank you.
Interesting how flat Enqvist hits the ball. So different to the current crop of players, because there he actually couldn't see it because it was so flat going across the tape. He's having to peer over the net.
Good placement from Leighton Hewitt. Again, that early forehand.
You got the feeling that's what Hewitt was perhaps trying to do in the last game of the Enqvist, so just get the ball back into play and asked the question at Enqvist, are you going to keep coming up with the big winners? The Swede responded, hasn't been able to continue it through in this game.
Enqvist vibration thing coming out of his racket.
Well, there's been some better vibrations coming out of the Swedish side of the court in the last half a set, but unable to turn it into anything tangible at the moment. Again, cool and as collected as you like under intense pressure there, Hewitt.
Well, this really is a stunning backhand from Thomas Enqvist. He's loved to aim a lot of his shots down the line.
I think this could have started the match serving as well as this. Things may have been a little bit different. And I'm sure as Hewitt walks to his chair, there'll be a few little nerves flying around here, that if Enqvist can grab this third set, they're a real tough fight to finish this off.
Well, I think Enqvist's improvement in serving has coincided with, I think, having a bit more of a clear-cut game plan. Looking to be more aggressive on the Hewitt return. It's definitely helped him. Maybe he's relaxed a little bit more as well. He's certainly posing some questions to Leighton Hewitt.
Interesting watching John Fitzgerald on the chair here, obviously, because this is the time where you've really got to walk a fine line between over-talking and not talking enough, and he sort of sat back for a good 25 seconds there, didn't say a word, let Hewitt compose himself, and now just offering a few words of encouragement. Wally Masurini, a picture, the team coach. Wally, a fine player in his own right, in his time, semi-finalist at the US Open. Second time in this set, Hewitt having a serve to stay in it. Oh, that was like my alarm call this morning. Carlos Morris just saying that, but that was a late call.
Was a late call, but also it was out. So was the return from Enqvist.
Too careful on the approach from Hewitt. He's pulled it wide. And Enqvist this time is the man that rides his luck on the mishit. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant from Enqvist.
Well, this has been the turning point in the match. Enqvist has been able to capitalise on Hewitt's second serve.
And the Swede with 2 set points. Crowd are up. The bench on the Swedish side are up. The only person that's sitting down called it out. Oh, that is a tight call. It looked to be in. Maybe Hewitt grabbed it. A lucky call there. Still set point. He's done it. Wonderful effort by Enqvist. The crowd were talking him through that point, and Hewitt has lost what seemed an insurmountable lead. Enqvist, stunning turnaround here. A match that looked to be drifting towards an inevitable conclusion has suddenly got very exciting. Well, certainly for the Swedish fans. The Australians, perhaps not so. Hewitt, who was giving Enqvist at times a lesson out here, is suddenly going to have to find another way to win this match.
Well, full credit to Enqvist. He really did lift his level in the third set, middle of the third set, more aggressive, and that set point, fantastic volley. You feel he's got to continue that through beginning of this fourth set. Something that guy did a lot. New picture, Stefan Edberg.
Slam for Cheer was his classic, wasn't it? I remember at Wimbledon, coming from 2 sets to love down.
Final seats, please, ladies and gentlemen. Fourth set, Sweden.
Swedish number 2 start off this fourth set. Plenty of upside at the moment for the Swedes. The only downside is how much did that take out of Enqvist mentally and a little bit physically. It's always such a long haul to more mentally to get yourself back from a 2 sets to love deficit. Again, Hewitt a little too careful on the approach.
He's had the short ball, just gave Enqvist time. Give the Swede time on his backhand pass, you're going to pay for it.
You just get the feeling with Hewitt, the deeper the crisis, the deeper the resolve. He seems to be able to shut himself out for everything else that's happening around him. Enqvist unable to sustain the magic of the end of that third set. Early on in the fourth, he's got a couple of set points, game points. Well, it's amazing how quickly things could turn around. You suddenly felt that Hewitt was right up against it. The crowd were into this match. At least 4,000 Swedes here, but they've been silenced instantly as Hewitt gets an early breaker serve.
Well, he had that mental letdown, Enqvist. And that really could prove costly. Let Hewitt back into the match. And really, Hewitt didn't really earn it. All he was doing was getting the ball in court. It was Enqvist who's the one who made the unforced errors.
Which is one of the undoubted skills that Hewitt has, is the ability just to keep playing on a level sort of line the whole way through. Yes, he'll up a little bit and go down, but pretty much he stays on the same way. But most of the guys that he plays against fluctuate immensely, as we saw there from Enqvist.
That's why he's world number one. Clean striking the ball from Enqvist. That's the error from Hewitt.
The one thing that Enqvist did so well in that third set was force Hewitt to have to play a different type of game for a while there. Unfortunately, he's rather handed these opening couple of games to Hewitt.
11 service.
Yeah, the crowd really need to do their bit for Enqvist. Again, they've followed the scoreline a little too much rather than just getting into the heat of the moment.
Well, I think they possibly needed to be even more vocal at the start of the fourth set than they were at the end of the third.
Both men getting off to less than convincing opening service games in this fourth set. Certainly the Swedish fence are trying to do their best to get the crowd in, and finally the crowd have responded. Not sure who that was directed at. Perhaps nobody, but certainly the biggest expression by Hewitt so far in this match.
Well, it certainly wasn't aimed at us. Maybe the Swedish crowd.
The quality of tennis has disappeared. Not the excitement, maybe just both players having to readjust their focus a little bit.
Well, Hewitt took a lot of pace off that first serve, put it in 142 Ks. He certainly didn't get lucky with the net cord. I just feel that this is such a vital game for both players.
when he's not trying to overpress, he looks very comfortable, Enqvist, although definitely feel as though he's found a way to beat Hewitt. Whether he can sustain it or not is a different matter. Set it up nicely.
That was the right shot to hit, Thomas Enqvist. Low margin for error. Really affected him on that big point.
I think physically this game is so vital for Enqvist just to give him that sort of lift.
Water.
It was a massive game, you feel, in the context of this fourth set. Hewitt hangs on to his serve. Perhaps will roll towards the finishing line a little bit quicker now. Enqvist just has to believe that he can still win this match. He continues to play the way that he's been playing. He has still got a chance. I just think physically he's starting to look, for the first time, a little bit weary. The moment your level drops about 10% against Leighton Hewitt, it becomes all too apparent.
That's a good tactic from Leighton Hewitt. Seeing the approach shot, just hitting a fraction long.
That's unplayable from Enqvist.
Oh, hard hitting from the Swede. But again, Hewitt got his racket on the ball.
Did well there to extricate him from that situation. He's looking very dubious there for a moment for Thomas Enqvist. Hangs on, Hewitt still a break ahead. It's been a pretty comfortable afternoon really for John Fitzgerald on there. He's had a couple of big cushions to sit on. It hasn't really had to do too much whatsoever, but in the last 35 minutes he's been working pretty hard, keeping his man on track. Wilander, a much harder experience today. They've done a good job here with Enqvist to keep this match competitive. Great reaction, more than the actual shot from Enqvist.
And the shot wasn't bad. Again, aiming down the line. That's where he's got most of his success today.
Hewitt making good use of his 5'11", good extension on the serve.
And again, in that point, Enqvist having success off the second serve, really pushing Hewitt back.
He's painted down that line a couple of times in this game, Hewitt.
That's the one serve he serves very well, Leighton Hewitt, out wide to the outside.
It was a riskier shot when he tried and hit the off backhand rather than taking the one down the line. Just because the ball's going that way and you've got to change the path of the ball. And the second game in a row, perhaps you're going to be off the hook a little bit here. It's nervy tennis right now.
For both players, it's such a critical stage in the match. I can't remember seeing Leighton Hewitt being foot folded so much. 5 or 6 times today.
scintillating forehand from Enqvist on the run.
Well, there was nothing nervy about this shot from Enqvist. Again, having success going down the line, but I think this is one of the best of them.
It amounts to nothing if he can't capitalise on this break point, though, for Enqvist. But it's got a little substance now. Hewitt's fifth double fault. And Enqvist levels things up here in the fourth. It's getting mighty interesting.
And we hear the Swedish crowd raise their vocal cords. But you just feel now this is such a critical stage for Enqvist, especially these first 2 points of this game, because you know Hewitt's going to lift his level. Fortunately for the Swede, he's got new balls.
Top ace for Enqvist.
Good second serve. And he pounces on that forehand. He really is into a good rhythm on the forehand. It's purple patch for Thomas Enqvist. Really is heading the ball as sweet as he's done the whole match.
Hewitt's never lost from being 2 sets to love up in his entire career yet. I'm sure not wanting to start now. Maybe just took his foot off the mental pedal there.
It's so strange, it came off the back of such a purple patch from Enqvist where he screamed 3 winners. Just felt he was looking too much at 3-2. Lovely placement from the Swede.
It's starting to look like a better scoreline as well for the Swedish number 2. Great effort here in the 4th set. 3 games in a row for Enqvist. He leads 3-2. Hewitt, who came through in the first round, just overtook competition against Alex Danovic. Australia scraped past Great Britain. A slightly sterner test on his hands right now. Enqvist in full flow. And Hewitt's rattled.
Definitely brought his head up on that last forehand. That's where the captain earns his money, doesn't it? And make his man take his time.
I think he's handled those sort of misses well, though, Enqvist, in the last set and a half. He knows that he has to keep going after it. He knows he's going to make some bad errors. But the winners, hopefully, as they have done, will outweigh them. Hewitt, you've been a little battered in the last 20 minutes. Would you expect a little bit more of the feisty Hewitt that we know?
Well, I think the older Hewitt's got, the more selective he's been.
Well, it wasn't a great rally until the last shot. And then it was sublime.
Was it acknowledgement from Hewitt, but not over the lob.
Better service game from Hewitt. Found a few more first serves. And just after dragging himself back from 2-love down, finds himself all level at 3-all.
We were talking about Leighton Hewitt's never lost a match and being 2 sets of love down. He came very close at Wimbledon last year against Sheng Xiaoquan. He's down a break twice in the 5th set. Well, both players played their part in this rally. Phenomenal retrieving from Hewitt, but bettered by Enqvist. Ferocious hitting on his forehand.
element of the play at the moment where you feel as though the way that Hewitt's going about his business, he's actually playing Enqvist into better form. Just what Enqvist would have wanted. A nice love service game.
Well, this is the one thing Enqvist does have. Once he gets into a purple patch, it's very hard to stop. This is maybe where Leighton Hewitt's got to just step it up a little bit, maybe take a calculated risk. But I don't think you can now rely on Enqvist making unforced errors. Because of the upturn in form of Enqvist, you also hear the Swedish crowd.
Certainly have been shut out for the majority of the day, but I think it took a lot to even convince the Swedish public that their man actually had a genuine chance of winning this match. And I think the belief has not only been instilled in Enqvist, but also in the 4,000 people that are still here. Magnus Gustafsson there, the former top 10 player, and the former world #1. The current world #1 in a little bit of trouble. Enqvist not best pleased with the call.
Always a good tactic against a big guy. Hit back behind him.
We all know about Hewitt's medal, but it's certainly going to be a big test of Enqvist right now. Hitting the ball well enough to take this into a fifth. Just at this juncture, I'd have to say that he's the better player as well. Characteristic errors from the Hewitt racket.
Hewitt might agree, but the way Hewitt will see that is his level. So if he can lift his game, possibly pounce.
Tried to overhit that in the last set and a half, Enqvist.
He's gotten to a good rhythm on it, hasn't he? Really leans into the ball.
Hewitt in that rally, going back to what he does best, keeping the ball to a nice length, being pretty passive, it has to be said, and he got the error that he wanted.
Well, one thing you do know is if Hewitt hits a great winner, he won't be passive after that shot.
Well, he handled this situation very well in the third set. Enqvist had some of his best tennis. And again, retrieving absolutely everything.
Well, it's critical stages now for Thomas Enqvist. Over-pressing on this backhand ball, a lot of success in the last set and a half.
Well, that again, another tribute to Hewitt's extraordinary talent, really. Enqvist has barely served and volleyed in this match. But you've got the feeling that Hewitt had seen him coming in almost like a sixth sense. And the world #1 with 3 break points. He's done it, like he always seems to do. A huge jump of euphoria, really, after that. And what a fabulous game by Hewitt. And the Aussie #1 will finally come out and serve for this match.
Well, a phenomenal pass.
Has been a great effort, but I mean, when you think this is probably Enqvist's best surface situation, 11 of his 9 career titles coming indoors on situations like this, he's handled it well, Hewitt.
Well, he has, and you know, he was dominating the match 2 sets up. Enqvist responded. You just felt in the middle of the fourth, Enqvist was playing the better tennis, but Hewitt just waited and waited. Got a couple of unforced errors for Enqvist at the beginning of that last game, but this pass, phenomenal. You can see he wasn't passive after that shot.
You really do see how much Davis Cup means to him and to all the players. It really does invoke the type of passion that you rarely get on the tour.
Well, it's the only time you get to compete as a team, and I think that brings something special about the Davis Cup.
So it's been a little longer than he thought in coming, Leighton Hewitt. But finally, he has the opportunity to serve, to put his country 2 love ahead in this quarter-final of the Davis Cup.
Thank you. Please.
And while others may falter against him in this sort of situation, he never seems to put a foot wrong when he's trying to close out a match.
Well, when he served for the first and second sets, he won his service game to love. But this is the hardest one to win.
But it doesn't seem to be proving so for Hewitt, who now is right on the verge of taking care of Thomas Enqvist. And he's done it. The intensity ever apparent on Hewitt. Disconsolate Enqvist is, as always it is when you play for your country and lose and come up short. It's the bitterest pill to swallow. Hewitt hasn't tasted it very often, and that's why he is the best in the world and the best in these sorts of situations.
Well, Leighton Hewitt lifted his level, 4-all in the fourth. Just sensed that Thomas Enqvist was going to take the match into a fifth set. But it's Sweden who've got it all to do to come back from 2-love down, win the vital doubles.
Closed that match out well as well, Hewitt. He took the last 9 points against Enqvist, who looked, to be honest, at the middle of that fourth set as the favourite, if he could just hold it together. But that's the problem with playing Hewitt. There's always too many other problems to solve, as long as we're just trying to play your own game. The master tactician, and Fitzgerald, I'm sure, delighted with his day's work on the bench.
Well, it's been a pretty easy day for Fitzgerald and the Australian team, but one stage he thought it was going to be very easy, 2 comfortable wins, but Thomas Enqvist fought back, really kept the match alive.